Okay, everybody. What I'd like to do at this point is we're going to skip over this. We'll come back to this later. But I'd like to do some work with clouds today. Really what I'd like to do is make most of the lesson today about clouds and different types of clouds. When we're looking at clouds, there's some vocabulary words that help us understand them. So first of all, one of the words is cirrus. So a cirrus cloud is one that has kind of like wisps and curls to it. And I think you can probably imagine clouds that look like that. We'll look at some pictures of these things in a little bit. The term stratus means that it's basically a layered cloud. In geology, the word strata means layers of rock. Here we're talking about layers of cloud. So stratus is a layered cloud. We have cumulus, which are kind of like heaps or piles. And then we have some other terms too. We have alto, which means it's high in the atmosphere. It's high up in altitude. There's also the term nimbus. Nimbus means rain. So it's a cloud that would produce rain or if it were cold enough, snow. So that's one of the key ideas. Now, if we take a look at the chart, things got a little out of order here in your packet. Let me just find where we want to go. Okay, we're going to go backwards to page 21. Things got a little bit out of order, but that's okay. So this chart, what it's showing is, we'll write in different types of clouds and their altitudes. So clouds are grouped by where they form in the atmosphere. We have clouds that form at high altitude, middle altitudes, and low altitudes. So if we start out with the high altitude ones, they're all going to have some form of the word cirrus in there or cirro. So the first one would be our cirrus clouds. And those are the ones that look kind of like white wisps in a very blue sky. And again, we'll look at pictures of this in a minute. If we have cirrostratus, those are layered clouds. Remember, stratus means layered. Cirro basically means high altitude. So these are clouds that are at high altitude and are layered. And then we have cirrocumulus. Cumulus clouds are really like the white puffy clouds that little kids draw in paintings and pictures and stuff. They're just kind of like the little white puffy clouds that are usually in a blue sky. They usually mean good weather. And if it's cirrocumulus, that means that they're happening at a high altitude, anywhere between 20 and 40,000 feet. Now, middle clouds, the prefix alto in this case means middle. And if we have altocumulus, it's the same thing as the cirrocumulus. It just means they're lower in elevation. So we have our cumulus, our little puffy white clouds, but they're at a middle level in the atmosphere instead of high in the atmosphere. They're in a middle level. And then we also have altostratus. In altostratus, same idea as the cirrostratus. Just lower down. Okay, so these are clouds that form in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. Okay, then we get to the low levels of the atmosphere, and we have clouds like stratocumulus, stratus, and nimbostratus. Nimbo again means rain. And we'll look at pictures of these in a minute. Now here we have what they call vertical development. And in this situation, when we have cumulus clouds, those little white puffy clouds, if the conditions are right, those little puffy clouds are going to clump together and form what's called cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus. A cumulonimbus is a thunderstorm cloud, really, really large cloud, and it extends a huge vertical distance, all the way from the low levels of the atmosphere, all the way up to 40,000 feet, up to the stratosphere. Okay, if you remember the layers of the atmosphere, we live in the troposphere, and most of our, or almost all of our weather occurs in the troposphere. A cumulonimbus cloud will often reach the stratosphere. Now remember, there's no water vapor or humidity in the stratosphere, but it will extend all the way up into the stratosphere. Now, in your notes, and again, we're jumping around a little bit again, but there's a diagram that looks like this on page 23. And this is just trying to show the different types of clouds. I don't understand why, but oftentimes these are just shown with drawings and pictures or paintings, but not actual photographs as much. I'm not sure why that is. I suspect it's probably because it's very difficult to get good textbook photographs of many of these things. But if we take a look at these, this first one would match number 1 on your key. Okay, this is a cirrus cloud, or a drawing of a cirrus cloud. We'll look at some actual photographs in a little bit. For number 2, we have cirrostratus. So again, a layered cloud, but since this got the cirro prefix, it means it's at a high altitude. Okay, here we have for number 3, cirrocumulus. So that's a cirrocumulus cloud. For number 4, we have altostratus. And then here we have altocumulus. Remember, alto means middle. Cirro prefixes, or in this case cirrus, but that means high elevation. Here we're in middle elevation, and now we're getting into our lower level clouds. Okay, so here we have our stratocumulus. Okay, here we've got cumulus. I'll go back and put the numbers in. This one was 6, this one was 9. And then we've got nimbostratus. We could tell because of the rain over here. We've got just plain old stratus over here. Basically the same thing as nimbostratus, but it's just not raining, or raining yet, or maybe it just won't rain at all. And then here we've got our cumulonimbus, the large thunderstorm clouds. And I'll go back and put the numbers in. So this was number 10 on your key, 7, and 8. I think that's right. Okay, so anyway, those are the basic types of clouds. Now I know these drawings are not all that helpful most of the time, so let's take a look at some actual photographs of these things. And we'll do it in the same order that we just took a look at these pictures. So we'll start out with our cirrus clouds. Okay, so we often see these on nice sunny blue sky kind of days. These are very high altitude clouds, and they indicate good weather. These are nice good weather clouds, dry air, blue skies. Okay, here we have cirrostratus, layered clouds, but they're high in altitude. These are high level clouds, high in altitude. Here we have cirrocumulus. Cumulus are the nice little white puffy clouds, but because it has the prefix cirro here, that means that these are at a very high altitude. They're very, very high in elevation. And here we can see the top of a house there. And now we start getting into the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And now we have altostratus, layered clouds, but they're closer to the surface than the cirrostratus was. So altostratus, mid-level. And now we have our altocumulus. The cumulus clouds are lower down than cirrocumulus. So alto, again, just means mid-level, medium, mid-level altitude. Okay, now we start getting into our lower level clouds. Here we have stratocumulus. We have stratus. Stratus is very, very layered. Here's nimbostratus. We can see some rain coming down. This is often referred to as virga, when it's rain that evaporates before it hits the ground, which is what it looks like is happening here. It's raining, but then the air is so dry, this looks like an arid desert environment, that the rain is evaporating before it even makes it to the ground, or most of it. We'd call that virga. But this is a nimbostratus cloud, dark cloud, low, steady rain. Here's our classic cumulus cloud, white puffy cloud, blue sky in the background. This is what you'd draw if you were to draw a picture of a nice sunny day. And then here we have our cumulonimbus cloud. Cumulonimbus is the very tall, vertically developed cloud. This is the one that could reach the stratosphere at times. It's a severe thunderstorm cloud. So these are the storms that produce lightning, hail, in severe cases even tornadoes, and our violent weather. Okay, so that's a cumulonimbus. Whoops, went backwards for a second. Okay, so that's a cumulonimbus cloud. The cumulonimbus cloud is sometimes referred to as having an anvil shape, and that is sometimes kind of confusing. Even on the Regents exam, they'll sometimes refer to it as an anvil-shaped cloud. First of all, well, what's an anvil? And an anvil is this tool that was used by blacksmiths a long time ago to shape metal. And you'd heat up metal to a red-hot color and then pound it on the anvil into the shapes that you wanted. It's also often in cartoons, like here's the Coyote and the Roadrunner, and the anvil is about to land on Coyote's head. Often in cartoons, they're kind of fun to drop on characters, I guess. But the reason why the cloud, the cumulonimbus, is referred to as an anvil-shaped cloud is because it often takes on, well, an anvil shape if we look at it from the side. You can see it kind of gets pointy here. And what's happening is that the cloud is so tall that it starts reaching wind in the high levels of the atmosphere. And these high-level, upper-level winds blow the tops of the cloud over. So we can actually tell the wind direction. Just by looking at this cloud, we can tell that the wind is blowing to the left. I don't know what direction that is compass-wise, but I can tell by the picture that the wind must have been blowing from right to left in this case, blowing over the top of the cloud, creating a shape similar to the anvil over here. And that's why they're often called anvil-shaped clouds. And these are our severe thunderstorm clouds. Now, those are a lot of clouds. We can really summarize it to these. These are the ones that you really need to know. Okay, you need to know cirrus clouds, these white wispy clouds at high elevation. Stratus would be our heavy layered clouds. Nimbostratus, low-level clouds, slow, steady rain out of those. Cumulus, good, fair weather clouds. And then cumulonimbus are dark, anvil-shaped thunderstorm cloud, lightning, hail, even possibly tornadoes if it were strong enough. And these are very, very tall clouds that extend all the way up into the stratosphere. Now, I posted an assignment for you to do where I want you to keep a journal, like a little log of cloud types that you see. These are the ones that I want you to focus on. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be at least approximately right. I'm not concerned if you mix up altocumulus and cumulus, but you should be able to tell the difference between a cumulus and a stratus. And while you're keeping your cloud journal, I'm going to be keeping one at home as well, just to be able to tell if you did it at least somewhat right. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be mostly correct. You know, I don't want to see a nimbostratus when it was a cirrus kind of day. But if you mix up the altitudes, that's okay. But at least it's got to be at least mostly correct. Okay, so those are cloud types. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Thanks.